PIKO started out in the summer of 2005 when the labor attaché in the Philippine Embassy suggested that an organization of students is formed as they are already active Filipino migrant organizations in Korea. On its 16 years of existence, PIKO has been serving Filipino students all over South Korea. Also, the organization has connected with more students because of the creation of 9 regional chapters in different parts of the country. And to continue its vision and mission, the organization continues to conduct activities that promote unity and camaraderie, exchange of information, and studies between students. Other activities were dedicated to cultural events as well as social issues that concern the Filipino communities and the Philippines. The organization will continue to strive to become a better platform for students to express their thoughts and ideas, and PIKO will continue to raise the Philippine flag high and proud.
I wish to take this opportunity to first sincerely extend my congratulations to the newly elected members of PIKO's Executive Committee, led by...
Mabuhay ang lahat ng mga nagsipagtapos at mabuhay ang Pinoy Iskolars sa Korea.
Whatever you learn is how you do what you do with your life.
Do not limit yourself talaga. If you want to pursue graduate school, then pursue.
We have a family in Korea. Thank you for inviting us to this big family.
I'm just as grateful na I have become a member of PIKO.
Welcome to the first ever Philippine Korean Youth Forum, and may you all have a pleasant day ahead.
I'm pleased and honored to once again have this opportunity to express the Philippine Embassy's support to our scholars in Korea, and I hope that PIKO will continue the momentum you have built in the past months to fully serve your members for the upcoming spring semester. I also wish to commend...
Ang GA ay isang pagkakataon kung saan pinag-uusapan ang mahalagang updates na nangyari sa ating organization.
It is my great pleasure and honor to be invited to this General Assembly and Acquaintance Party.
Bilang panghuli, kung ang mga OFW ang ating tinuturing ng mga bagong bayani, at ang mga kabataan naman ng pag-asa ng bayan ayon kay Jose Rizal. Kaya marapat lamang na kilalanin din natin ang mga Pinoy Scholars bilang mga bagong bayani na pag-asa ng bayan. Yun lamang po, maraming salamat.
Magandang hapon po. Ako po si Maria Victoria Faith Garcia, ang inyong tagapagdaloy sa araw na ito. Magsisimula na po tayo in a few minutes. So inaanyayahan ko po ang lahat na buksan po ang inyong mga screen para po sa ating pambansang awit na susundan din ng pambungad na panalangin na lahat po ay gagawin ni Binibining Raybel Ragindin, ang ating kalihim mula sa PIKO.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this Hayo at Gilas event. May you bestow your guidance and blessings on this event so that we can enjoy and appreciate its significance in our lives. May you bless everyone present today so that we can share what we have for your glory and your honor. May you grant good health and safety to our loved ones at home. And may the various activities related to this event be a success through your intervention. We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Maraming salamat, Raybel. At bago po tayo magsimula, I am personally in behalf of Pinoy Iskolars sa Korea organization welcomes you to our Hayo at Gilas Spring 2021 para sa ating pagkilala sa ating mga nagtapos at nakapag-publish at nanalo ng mga award sa first semester ng ating pag-aaral dito sa Korea. Atin pong pakinggan para sa ating pambungad na pananalita, Her Excellency Maria Teresa Dizon de Vega, ang ating Ambassador Designate mula sa Embahada ng Pilipinas sa Republika ng Korea.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. 안녕하세요. 좋은 하루 보내시고 저도 해주셔서 감사합니다. Thank you very much for this invitation. Maraming salamat sa pagpapaunlak nyo at pagbibigay ng panahon para ako po ay makapagbigay ng konting mensahe po, maikling mensahe para sa espesyal na okasyon na ito. Maraming salamat Ms. Binibining Garcia at sa lahat po ng bumubuo ng PIKO at Hayo. Napakaganda pong mga acronym o pangalan po sa inyong mga organisasyon. Akmang-akma po ito sa aking pananaw sa mga gusto nyo pong makamit sa inyong buhay at dahil po Hayo, ibig pong sabihin ay atin pong maidulot sa mas malaking komunidad, sa mas malawak na pamayanan yung ating kaalaman, yung ating mga natutunan, yung ating pakikisalamuha, yung ating engagement sa iba't ibang mga larangan po. At ang PIKO naman po, napaka-cute po na acronym, pero ito po ay nagpapakita rin ng, kumbaga sa wikang Ingles po, yung nimbleness ng ating mga scholar na Pilipino, yung kakayahan na makahanap ng mga inobasyon, no? Sa iba't ibang mga larangan. Isa pong napakalaking karangalan po sa akin na makasama kayo ngayong hapong ito, sa lahat po ng bumubuo ng inyong liderato at mga miyembro. Kasama ko rin po ngayong hapon, mas kilala niyo po siya kaysa sa akin dahil ngayon lang po tayo magkikita-kita. Virtually si Vice Consul Liza Viejo, magsasalita rin po siya, magbibigay po siya ng concluding message o mensahe mamaya po, no? Nais ko lang pong ipaabot sa inyo sa ngalan ng buong Embahada ng Pilipinas dito sa Seoul, Korea, ang aming taus-pusong pagbati sa lahat po ng mga magsisitapos o nagsipagtapos na po ngayon sa kanilang pag-aaral sa Korea at yung mga natatanging mga scholar din ho natin na Pilipino na nakapag-iwan po ng kanilang at nakapagbigay, no, ng kanilang mga ideya, ng kanilang mga pag-aaral po sa iba't ibang larangan. Ako po ay galing po sa academe bago po ako ay naging diplomat o bureaucrat at abogada. Ako po ay sa mga taga UP Diliman po dito, hindi ko na po kayo naging estudyante. Ako po ay dating faculty member ng College of Arts and Letters. Kung kayo po ay taga UP, alam niyo po kung nasaan po yung tambayan namin, pero nasunog na po yung aking opisina, yung lumang faculty center sa kasamaang palad po ng mga ilang taon na pong nakalipas. But I think they are currently building a new faculty center to replace the old faculty center. So very unfortunate and sad part of the UP Diliman community's landscape has been lost, but hopefully it will rise again. Pero kahit po mawala ang mga building, mga edifice po sa isang campus, sa isang lugar kung saan ang edukasyon ang pinakaimportante, yung tinatawag po nating spirit, yung desire to learn at yung critical thinking at the freedom to think critically and to analyze. Yan po ang talagang sangganan po, no? Yan po ang bedrock ng buhay sa academe, and I feel very fortunate that I come from that background. So nung binabasa ko po dun sa inyong booklet, sa inyong programa, yung iba't ibang mga research topics po, no, na natapos na at naipasa nyo na po sa inyong mga universidad dito sa Korea, nothing is too esoteric or too too different for me. I think that what you are doing here in Korea, as you pursue higher studies, as you pursue graduate studies and very, very specialized and focused studies, is that research is always key to development. It's always key to progress. It's always really the foundation of everything we do. I'm sure some people, yung mga iba nyo pong mga kasamahan, mga kaibigan, mga kamag-anak, iniisip, bakit ka pa nagma-masters? Bakit ka nag-graduate diploma? Bakit ka nagpi-PhD? Hindi ba sobra-sobra na yung pag-aaral, magtrabaho ka na lang? Pero ang value added po kasi ng ginagawa nyo ngayon, kayo po ay nagko-contribute to the greater body of knowledge. And especially now, in the world that we're living, research, science, a very firm foundation, knowledge foundation for either policy making, for innovation, for industry, for science, for public health. These are all rooted. The best kinds of policies which emerge from all these interactions is really rooted in good and thorough scholarship, which is the path that you've chosen for at least for this period in your professional lives. Lalo na po ngayon sa panahon ng pandemya, ayoko naman po kayong bansagan na pandemic batch, pero parang ganun na nga rin po, no? You are one of the first batches of scholars to emerge from the new normal. Actually po, kung akong tatanungin, hindi ko masyadong gusto yung terminong new normal. I prefer to use the term a better normal, because I think we do have the infinite capacity to contribute to a better normal, hopefully once we are out of this particularly challenging time in world history. And as we know, even in the midst of a public health crisis such as this, a global public health crisis, science is the firm foundation for really sound management. Importante po yan. Bago po ako lumapag dito sa South Korea, galing po ako sa bansang Alemania, sa Germany. And yung sinasabi po nung kanilang liderato doon that science has to be the foundation of everything that we do, of how we address the challenges of the pandemic. Gaya nyo po, maliban po sa aking sa aking stint in the academe, like you, I was also an overseas Filipino scholar for about almost 2 years. Pero hindi po sa bansang Korea, sa bansang Canada naman po, where I did my master's in cultural studies. And I can sympathize and I can empathize with the challenges of our Filipino scholars abroad, yung pag-aalangan minsan kung kakayanin nila yung pag-aaral, kung if they will be able to finish ang kanilang mga thesis, ang kanilang mga dissertations on time. Pinagdaanan ko rin po yan. Kasama na po doon yung pangungulila. Pero at the end of the day, the will to learn and the will, I think more importantly, to make the most of what you learn, of your exposure in the academic field, will go a long way in making yourselves more to contribute more to the community. Kaya ako po saludo sa ginagawa niyo ngayon. At sabi nga ho nila, learning doesn't stop. Learning doesn't really stop. Instruction ends in the schoolroom, in the classroom, in the lecture hall, but education ends with life. So I hope that you'll also keep this in mind. But I think more importantly for the people we are honoring today, the people we are recognizing today, you are not just scholars. You stand out because you are Filipino scholars, because you bring with you the knowledge and the background which not all your classmates or your colleagues share, and also because you have this singular opportunity to contribute, hopefully, to the Philippines, to our country in terms of development, in terms of innovation, in terms of building, more just, more transparent communities where everyone will have the opportunity to grow, to forge his or her own path. And the only place where you can really fully maximize this potential is in the academic world, where, as I said earlier, you have the freedom to engage in critical thinking, and also in critical analysis of various fields sa iba't ibang larangan po. Malaya po kayong makapag-isip sa kung anong mga pagkukulang, anong pwedeng gawin, anong pwedeng mas pagbutihin. Yan po ang value ng inyong scholarship. Kaya tuwang-tuwa po ako at isa sa mga inyong speakers para sa inyong programa ngayon ay si Dr. Enrico Parinit po ng DOST, na siya pong magbibigay ng impormasyon tungkol sa matagal-tagal na rin pong programa na sinusuportahan din po ng aming departamento, ang Balik Scientist Program. Pero ngayon po, nakakatuwa po dahil pinalawak po nila yung konsepto ng Balik Scientist. Pinasukan na rin po nila ng Balik Puso at Balik Pilipinas. Kaya ako po excited na makita in the future kung ano po ang magiging kontribusyon ng ating mga scholar na nanggaling po dito sa Korea. At kung hindi man ho kayo bumalik sa Pilipinas physically, sana po through other means you will still be able to engage in this particular program. Sa panig naman po ng embahada, nais ko lang pong sabihin na sana po sa mga darating na panahon magkaroon pa ho ng mas aktibong relasyon sa ating embahada at sa PIKO at Hayo at iba pang mga estudyante, mga scholar po at mga researchers po natin dito sa Korea, dahil marami po tayong mako-contribute, marami po tayong pwedeng marating ng mga iba't ibang membro ng komunidad dito sa Korea at sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo. We would be very, very privileged to have some of you, for example, speak in fora, kahit po tayo ay mag-brown bag session, yung tinatawag po nilang mga brown bag sessions, mga focus group discussions in your particular field. So we hope to invite some of you, if not all of you, at some point in time to share your knowledge, to share your research, to share what you're doing, your advocacies to our community, not only here in Korea, but to the international community and other Filipino overseas communities. We'd also like to share with you that aside from the challenges which you yourselves have been facing the past year and a half in terms of continuing with your education, with your research, now there are new batches of students coming in, Korean government scholars, mga GSK scholars po natin. Unfortunately, yung mga non-GSK scholars hindi pa ho nakakapasok, but we're trying to find a way to help them to proceed with their studies. Yung iba po sa kanila, pwede pong gawin online, but there are some fields which require laboratory work and other on-site activities, which hopefully we'll be able to address with the Korean government and with the education institutions in the coming days. At nais ko rin pong ibahagi sa inyo na isa sa mga proyekto po namin pinaplano ngayon, ito po ay offshoot na rin ng mga proyektong kung saan ako po ay mapalad po na nakasama in my previous postings, and that is to promote Philippine studies in educational institutions overseas. Pag lagi po kasi akong nadidisappoint, medyo nadidismaya ako pag sa dami-dami sa dami na po ng aking mga foreign assignments po, pang-anim na bansa ako na po itong Korea. Pag ako po ay merong engagement with educational institutions abroad, ang una kong tinatanong, do you have a Philippine Studies program or do you offer any seminars, courses related to the Philippines, whether it's the Philippine language course or a basic introduction to Philippine conditions, Philippine history, Philippine culture. Kadalasan po wala. Pero nakikita ko po sa mga Southeast Asian or Asian departments po nila, napaka-aktibo po ng kanilang scholarship and engagement with other countries in our region. Kaya doon po nung naging embahador po ako ng Pilipinas sa Germany, meron po kaming nilaunch na Philippine Studies program po, Advancing Philippine Studies sa Humboldt University. Ito po ang pinakamalaking university sa Germany, sa Berlin po ito. Kaya kami po ay nakakuha po ng budget mula sa Kongreso po, at meron po tayong grant sa Humboldt University which provides for Filipino language courses, regular seminars on the Philippines, and the acquisition of research materials on the Philippines. So this is something that I would like to replicate with a partner institution here in Korea para ho lumawak din po ang kanilang pananaw at lumalim po ang pananaw nila sa Pilipinas po sa iba't ibang aspeto po ng ating bansa. And finally po, hindi ko pa maipakita ho sa inyo ngayon, but the Philippine Embassy would like to provide very simple tokens of appreciation and recognition for all the graduates and scholars. This year, I think there are 33 or so of you, I think 30 plus. Kami po ay nag-commission ng artwork sa isang Filipino artist, si Nikyalila Saulo. Siya po ay isang instructor ng baybayin at siya rin po ay isang graphic artist, at meron po kaming pinagawang munting artwork po na ibibigay po namin sa bawat isa po sa mga paparangalan ngayong araw na ito. Ang titulo po ng kanyang gawa ay Edukasyon, at ito po gumamit po siya ng baybayin-inspired graphics and artwork to create this special token of appreciation from the Philippine Embassy for all those who are graduating or who have reached research milestones. So maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Ako po kasama ng aking mga kasamahan sa embahada, nagpupugay po kami at bumabati po sa inyong lahat. Congratulations po to everyone at Chukayo, maraming salamat, mabuhay po kayo.
진심으로 감사드립니다. Her Excellency Maria Teresa de Vega Dizon. Kaakibat po ng nabanggit niyo po, we have had a Filipino language course here in Korea before. However, we are not sure if it is still continuing as of now. Pero malugod ko pong sasabihin na meron po tayong previous na mga professor na nakasama at nakasalumuha para po nagtuturo ng Filipino language sa iba pong university here. Ngayon naman po, atin na pong kilalanin ang mga nagtapos at ang mga natatanging Pinoy Iskolars sa Korea. But before I forget, I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our guests. Of course, our dearest advisor, Ma'am Liza Maria Viejo, and also our hello po Ma'am Liza. And then kasama din po natin mamaya ang ating pong mga kausap mula sa Department of Science and Technology, sila Dr. Paringit. And we also have other members of the DOST Balik Scientists program. And if I can just acknowledge you briefly po, yes, bale, ang ating, hindi po karaniwan na meron po tayong members from the DOST who would attend. However, we are very happy to welcome you during this time. Asa na po? Teka lang po ang listahan ko po ay nawawala. So, we also would like to acknowledge the presence of some of our former members who are going to be receiving their Hayo at Gilas awards. So maybe later on, here it is, nahanap ko na po. For the DOST chapter who are joining us today, we have Dr. Ruby Raterta, the Chief Science Research Specialist from PCI EERD or PISHERD. We also have Ms. Julianne Atienza, the BSP Secretariat from PISHERD. Ms. Eds Rogelio, BSP Secretariat PISHERD. Ms. J. Camille Calo, BSP Secretariat, Department of Science and Technology, Office of the Undersecretary for R&D. And we have Ms. Edona Lea Romaho As, BSP Secretariat and from DOST Office of the Undersecretary for R&D. Welcome po sa inyong lahat. I hope that you can find and we can bridge connections with all of our graduating scientists and students who are here today. At hindi ko na po patatagalin, atin na pong kilalanin ang mga humayo at mga nagpakitang gilas for this semester. Sisimulan ko po sa Hayo. The Hayo awardees are those students who have finished their courses here in Korea successfully, and so let's get to know them now. Angelica L. Alcantara, Kongju National University, Chonan, MS in Civil and Environmental Engineering, major in Water Resources Engineering. Bernadette B. Bagon, PhD in Animal Science, Dankook University, Chonan. Mariana Dominique Bibat, MS Integrative Food, Bioscience and Biotechnology, Chonam National University, Gwangju. Jean Cruz, ADI School of Public Policy and Management, Sejong, Master of Development Policy. Marilag Magpile de la Cruz, Masters in Child Development and Family Studies, Seoul National University. Hans Albert Ray Ramirez Esguerra, Master's Degree in Water Resources Management, Sungkyunkwan University. Erica Españo, PhD in Life Science and Pharmacy, Korea University, Sejong. Reggie Marie Soberano Gabales, MA Environment and Sustainable Development, Kyunghee University, Yongin. May Hyacinth Ledesma, MS in Design Management, Yonsei University, Seoul. Mary Dane F. Leonardo, MA in Science Education, Daegu University. Don Oliver Monghit, Master of Arts in Chinese Language and Literature major in Chinese Linguistics, Anyang University, Seoul. Leandre Martin Nang, MS Electrical Engineering, Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, Daejeon. Leo Adrian Pahe, MS Science major in Natural Products Chemistry, Chung-Ang University, Ansong. Tony Ramos, Doctor of Philosophy in Animal Science and Technology, major in Ruminant Nutrition and Anaerobe Microbiology, Suncheon National University. Kindly open your video po para makita kayo kapag sinasabi. Gilas PIKO, Master's Degree in Agriculture and Animal Breeding and Genetics, Suncheon National University. Joseph Echeverri Valdez, MS Chemistry major in Analytical Chemistry, Seoul National University. Michael Estabaya Versosa, PhD in Transportation System Engineering, University of Science and Technology, Daejeon. Eva Marie Wang, PhD in Global Education Cooperation, Seoul National University. We would like to share our deepest gratitude to Ms. Eva, our former PIKO President at nagpasimula po ng ating Hayo at Gilas. Ngayon po, kayo na po ang sasabihin namin sa Hayo. Bongga! Ngayon naman po, atin pong kilalanin ang mga natatanging Pinoy Iskolars sa Korea. Sila po ang mga nakapag-publish ng first author papers sa kanilang larangan at ang mga nakatanggap ng mga awards sa mga patimpalak dito sa Korea. Kilalanin na po natin sila. Angelica L. Alcantara, Future Flood Riverine Risk Analysis considering the heterogeneous impacts from tropical cyclone and non-tropical cyclone rainfalls in the advances in water resources. Bernadette B. Bagon, Excellence Award, second placer for oral presentation for her study in the possible mechanisms and applications of bile response proteins from the exoproteome of Lactobacillus johnsoni. Congratulations! Don Carlo Batara for his paper Friend or Foe? Paradoxical Roles of Autophagy and Glomogenesis in the journal Cells. Marie Anna Dominic Dibat for her excellent oral presentation, second place award for her study on the impact of replacing pork back fat with oil bodies on technological properties of meat model systems. Jimmy G. Cruz, KDI School Community Service Awardee. Arcel Elnar for his Yosong Future Dairy Science Award in the Poster Division for his study on genomic characterization of a Iosinogenic EAUM 157 isolated from raw cow's milk. Also, it has been able to publish characterization of silver nanoparticles produced by wild-type and mutant Serratia marcescens. Erica Españo, with her publications on COVID-19 antiviral and treatment candidates, as well as the inhibitory effect of aprotinin on influenza A and B viruses in vitro and in vivo. Mary Jane F. Leonardo, with her award as the best research paper for the Filipino Science Teachers' Perception on Webinars Alignment to UDL and its relation to self-efficacy amidst the challenges during COVID-19 pandemic. Rachel Ragindin for her paper application of 2-methylfuran and 5-methylfurfural for the synthesis of C16 fuel precursor over fibrous silica-supported heteropoly acid functionalized ionic liquid. Tony Ramos for his excellent post award, as well as the Mangang Biotechnology New Research Academic Award for his study on the different buffering capacity enhances rumen fermentation characteristics and ruminal bacterial composition and diversity of Hanuhu steers. And with the following publications for the journals of animals as well as agriculture, featuring studies on ruminants. Kevin Paulo Robles for his publication on the effect of the geometrical constraints to the Wenner 4-point electrical resistivity test of reinforced concrete slabs. Pierre G. Santiago for his publication in single-step genomic evaluation quality traits, sensory characteristics, and fatty acid composition in Duroc pigs. Victor Aaron Sioson for his publication on challenges in delivery systems for CRISPR-based genome editing and opportunities of nanomedicine. Maylene C. Valencia for her publication on the relationship between income generation, increasing substance dependence, and the risk of relapse, a cross-sectional study of drug treatment facilities. Michael Estabaya Versosa for his publication in solid oxygen purifying SOP filters, a self-disinfecting filter to inactivate aerosolized viruses. At ngayon naman po, before we move on, I would like to congratulate all of our Hayo and Gilas participants. You have truly made all of us proud, and congratulations on your future endeavors. Ngayon naman po, atin pong pakinggan ang presentasyon ng siyentipikong gawa mula po sa ating mga magsisipagtapos. Ang atin pong pakikinggan ay ang study ni Miss Marie Ana Dominique R. Bibat on the characterization of rapeseed oil bodies as a fat replacer and its application to pork meat model systems. Si Ms. Bibat ay nakapagtapos po ng MS Integrative Food Bioscience and Biotechnology from Chonam National University. Ms. Nikki, take it away.
Nakikita ba ng lahat?
Miss Nikki, yung slide po ang nakikita. Hindi po yung buong slide, but the notes part.
Wait a minute. Ayan, nakikita na po siya.
Yes!
Yes. So good afternoon. I'm Mariana Dominic Ibat, or my nickname is Nikki, and I'm from Chonam National University from the Department of Integrated Food Bioscience and Biotechnology. And I was working at the Food Processing and Preservation Lab of our department. So first of all, I'd like to thank PIKO for giving me this opportunity to present my thesis. And without further ado, I'll be presenting my thesis, which is the characterization of rapeseed oil bodies as fat replacer and its application to pork meat model systems. So for this presentation, first I'll be giving you a brief background on oil bodies and its potential food applications. Then my thesis is actually divided into two parts. So I'll be briefly discussing what each of them and finally giving you a summary of the presentation. So first off is my main ingredient for this specific thesis is what we call the oil body or oleosome. So it might be a new concept for you guys, but yeah, it's actually one of medyo hot topic siya when it comes to oil extraction. So basically, an oil body or oleosome can mean coming from animals or plant, but for this presentation, I only will be focusing on plants. So oil bodies usually are can be derived from seeds such as rape seeds or soybeans, and it's actually, if you imagine it, usually we get oil from seeds, but we get them already, and we use them, or it's the commercially available oil is already in its refined form, so oil lang siya. But the concept of oil body is originally oil is an oil body where it is surrounded by this membrane, interfacial membrane of proteins and phospholipids. And this membrane protects the oil in the seeds from external stresses. And the idea is instead of extracting oil as oil itself, there's this new trend or new study where you can actually extract oil as an emulsion, or since the proteins acts as an emulsifier, so when you extract the oil, hindi lang siya oil but as oil as an emulsion. So the advantage of this is, based on recent studies, they've presented that one, it's more sustainable way of extracting oil, because usually when we extract oil, to be efficient with extraction of oil, we use organic solvents such as hexane that can be very harsh for the environment. So with this one, it's an alkaline way of extraction, so it's more environment friendly. And then another thing is it can eliminate the homogenization process that is usually needed when we need to make the emulsion. So of course, when we need to make an emulsion, what do we combine? We combine oil with an emulsifier, either a protein or a carbohydrate, and that's what we make with the emulsion. So with this one, the concept is naturally makukuha mo na yung emulsion as an oil body or oleosome. So this is where the oil body is coming from. And for the oil bodies or oleosomes, actually it's really new. It's a really new topic. So there's not much any research about it. All of the research now is on the optimization of this extraction method or on describing its characteristics or stability characteristics. And there are some instances where, or some research that involves yung application, although limited pala, for you to have a better imagination on ano ba itsura ng oleosome. One is simply yung imitation milk product. So for example, nauuso ngayon yung soy milk or yung mga plant-based milks like almond milks. So actually, if you look at it, it's an oil body emulsion na kasi more on the liquid side, but it's actually composed of many oil bodies within. So one application is for imitation milk products, and another is oil bodies can be used for delivery systems. Since it contains oil, it can deliver bioactive compounds or volatile compounds, and since it has its own emulsifier, it can also act as an emulsifier. Next is it can help in producing edible films and coatings. And finally, what more to use yung actual na emulsion is by using it in food preparations that require the emulsions, and one of which is sa meat. So specifically for meat, the emulsion-based meat products are yung mga reformulated meat products. Ideally, we produce yung, for example, mga sausages, ganyan. It's a meat emulsion. We call it a meat emulsion. And the problem with the meat industry is the overconsumption of meat would lead to certain cardiovascular diseases. So hindi healthy yung pagkain ng sobrang dami ng sausages or meat. And so the trend is to put healthier oils, for example, from plants or from marine oils. But the problem with adding oil directly into the meat products ay nababago yung taste niya and naiiba din yung sensory profiles na tinatawag, kaya hindi siya possibly acceptable for the consumers. And so there are some technological options being considered to at least hindi masyadong masama yung maging effect with the addition of oils, and one of which is either by adding the oil in its pre-emulsified oil, or we first structure oil into what we call emulsion gels or yung nauuso din na oleogels. And so from here, nakuha ko dito yung concept now, since the oil body or oleosome is naturally pre-emulsified oil. So for this study, I targeted to evaluate the potential utilization of yung oil bodies or oleosomes as a technological option to replace animal fat in meat products. So we'll go first with part one of my study, where I used just the rapeseed oil bodies as the pre-emulsified oil to add into meat model systems. So meat model systems meaning hindi pa siya yung actual meat product. Parang usually we in meat science or processing, we first establish yung or test yung effectivity ng isang ingredient, a new ingredient with meat or compatibility with meat by first doing yung meat model system testing before applying it into an actual product. So for this, as I mentioned, I included yung rapeseed. So first I extracted the rape seeds and characterized them through the following analysis. And then after extracting the oil bodies, then I applied it in the meat model systems at increasing level of back fat substitution by 25%. And based on those meat model systems, I evaluated them based on the following analytical methods. So first is, yes, this is the formulation. And to describe the oil bodies, rapeseed oil bodies, basically the one I was able to extract is composed of 60% fat or oil And given this high negative value or absolute value of zeta potential and yung particle size, meaning this actually means that the oil bodies or the emulsion is much more stable. So it's actually good. And further characterizing it, meron tayong tinatawag na zeta potential, where because it has the interfacial membrane, and so dun natin makikita kung anong pH siya magiging unstable or not. And the rapeseed oil bodies were found to have an isoelectric point between 5 and 6. And based on the micrographs and the particle size, you can see napakaliit nung particle size ng oil bodies. And now for the succeeding experiments or results, I included already the oil bodies sa meat model systems. And one effect is for proximate composition, or basically it means yung composition niya in terms of moisture, fat, protein, minerals, and pH. There's a difference in terms of the moisture, where it increased with increasing level of oil bodies, and for fat, where it decreased with increasing level of oil bodies. And for color, actually medyo tricky yung color kasi since yung oil bodies is a bit yellow, so it would definitely change yung color ng meat. And for here, nakaproduce siya ng mas lighter, less red, and more yellow meat model systems. Then, this experiment would show after cooking the meat model systems, I needed to measure the amount of liquid that it released. And from here, we can see that the control has the highest released fluids, more of the water as compared to the one with the oil bodies. Actually, better if lesser released water or fluids, because it means na-retain yung juice no meat product natin. Then, I also took some H&E stains of the microstructure of the oil of the meat samples or meat model samples. And from here, since napakaliit nga kanina, pinakita ko yung oil bodies in terms of particle size, we can also see the difference in terms of the size of the oil bodies. And this is just the actual measurements of the fat globular size. And for texture, the only thing is with the addition of the oil bodies, I found out that it decreased yung hardness, gumminess, and chewiness. So and very significant yung difference except for the 25% substitution. So medyo tricky siya kapag gagamitin natin siya in meat products, since pwedeng lumalambot yung meat or yung meat product na gagamitin. One reason might be the additional moisture added with the meat model systems, and at the same time, maybe the protein involved in the oil bodies is not directly involved in like the meat chelation of the meat model systems. But one good finding from this experiment is, since oil bodies have been shown to be high in oxidative stability, this one represents in layman's term yung rancidity, kung kailan mapapanis in terms of the oil or the fat content. And from here, we can see that highest pa rin yung control, and with increasing percentage of oil bodies, it actually decreased. And lastly, of course, since it's food, I have to evaluate it based on the sensory parameters. And from here, we can see na actually medyo mataas pa rin si control in terms of acceptability of my consumers. And one reason is yung medyo beanie taste na sinasabi nila. So coming from this sensory evaluation results and other factors na naapektuhan, I had to think of another way that maybe magiging mas acceptable yung product or yung meat model systems na ginawa ko. So another part of this experiment is by first transforming the oil body into emulsion gels. So one recent topic din na pag-add sa mga meat products is either with the addition of emulsion gels or yung oleogels. And for this one, since emulsion yung pinanggalingan ng oil bodies ko, I produced the oil bodies into an emulsion gel. And for here, I chose the catecharaginan and soy protein isolate for the biopolymers to make it into a gel. And to optimize yung gel or yung parameters ng gel, I had to use yung response surface methodology. For those who, yung mga baka more of you nakakaalam naman ito, but usually this is a technique used in engineering or anything related for optimizing extraction procedures of any chemical, like usually. So for this one, I use two parameters, which is gel strength and yung syneresis. And using those parameters, I tried to optimize which is the best concentration for the ingredients of the emulsion gel. And from there, I only applied at this time 25% and 50% na addition of the oil bodies with substitution nung sa backpack. So ito lang yung range ng concentrations. And these are the actual results of the measured gel strength and syneresis. And this ANOVA just confirms yung models ko. Ito gamit ko yung RSM program just to show na accurate or the models can be used for optimization. But basically, to describe this one, we have the response surface plots here where we can see the relationships. So first, for gel strength, it is highly affected by the oil weight, capraraginan, and the soy protein isolate concentration, where stronger gels are produced at higher concentrations of carrageenan and lower oil concentration of OBs. While for syneresis, it's more significantly affected by oleosome or oil body oil weight and carrageenan, where lower syneresis at higher concentration of carrageenan is present. For here, we want to maximize gel strength. It means mas matigas yung gel, and at the same time, we want to minimize syneresis so that hindi siya mag-release ng water even when we process it. So from here, I used the program and was able to come up with two optimized concentrations of the ingredients or the components of the gel. And from there, I used these two gels to add or to substitute backfat in meat model systems. So ito lang yung formulation. And for proximate, unlike my first part of the thesis, it didn't really have any significant difference, but more of the carbohydrates part, which we can attribute to carrageenan. And the difference is in terms of texture with the hardness, gumminess, and chewiness, where ayun, medyo nabaliktad na natin. So sa pagdagdag ng carrageenan and soy protein isolate, mas nag-improve yung hardness, gumminess, and chewiness niya. And similar pa din in terms of the microstructure. And for color, although yon, meron pa rin effect on color since slightly yellow nga yung color ng oil bodies. So medyo naapektuhan pa din siya. But the lipid peroxidation or yung oxidative rancidity ng ating model systems is better pa din with the addition of oil body emulsion gels as compared to our control containing backfat. And finally, for sensory, although in other parameters, specifically yung color, talagang may difference, may observed difference siya. But in terms of overall acceptability, mas malapit yung ating mga nilagyan ng substitute ng oil body emulsion gels dun sa ating control. So with this, first is I was able to optimize the gels I produced using the RSM program with a 30% oil fraction. And although na-apektuhan pa rin yung color, at least other quality parameters, particularly texture and sensory, was improved. But to further establish or to further suggest this as a good ingredient, yung ating oil bodies, I think it's better to have this verified with the fatty acid profile and with its acceptability to actual meat products. And so in summary, so I've shown you that oil bodies can be beneficial in food applications since it presents potential environmental and economic benefits. And the addition of just oil bodies actually improves some technological properties such as oxidative rancidity, but it resulted to significant changes in texture and color. But in a way, the negative effects of oil body addition can be mitigated by converting it first to emulsion gels. And further study should be done in order to show the actual effect on the real products and on the nutritional benefit of using oil bodies in products. And with this, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Nikki, sa inyo pong illuminating study on oil bodies. Maganda po yan para sa mga gusto sigurong magkaroon ng mas healthy na alternative. Noong dati pong Hayo and Gilas, nagpa-question and answer portion po ako kasi akala ko conference ito. Pero ngayon po, salamat po kay Miss Nikki. And you may choose to, if you want to collaborate with Miss Nikki, siguro po meron po tayong way para makapag-usap po kayo. For now, let's move on to the next part of our program, which is to hear a message from one of our Hayo and Gilas awardees. Ngayon po, pakinggan po natin si Ginoong DeAndre Martin T. ng Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology para sa kanyang mensahe mula sa Nagsipagtapos.
Hello everyone. So thank you, PIKO. Pero yeah, I just want to start it off by saying congratulations to everyone who was awarded here. I think we all deserve a big round of applause. Yes, because I think all of us really worked hard for all our achievements here, and studying in Korea has really been a very challenging time for a lot of us. And I really can't speak for everyone, I guess, because all of us have very different experiences. So giving a message from the people who are graduating is very difficult. So let me try to summarize what I felt like as a student. So I think one of the things that I heard, especially when I was starting out, a lot of people would ask me so why Korea? Why did you choose to study in Korea? And I feel like a lot of you can probably relate to that as well. And and I asked my friends as well, a lot of them gave me very different answers. So for some of them, they said, oh, because they like K-pop and K-drama. Maybe some of you can relate to that. Or maybe some of them were saying that, oh yeah, they like Korean food. Or for some, maybe it's they just so happen to chance upon a scholarship and take the opportunity, right? Why not? But I think at the end of the day, choosing why we chose Korea doesn't really matter. But our experiences there, everything we learned, every experience that we've gathered has really changed who we are and helped us grow a lot as a person. So yeah, for me, I actually entered Korea originally planning to do my PhD as well, but then given the recent pandemic, I think a lot of you could probably relate as well that plans have changed, and we're in a different era today. And so I decided to pursue or finish with my PhD and graduate, and here I am today, joining you guys as your graduating batch. And yeah, I couldn't be happier to share this experience with everyone here. And I'm going to make this short because I think we're already a little bit over time. But yeah, I actually honestly did not really prepare so much for what to say here because again, I really don't really know what to say. I'm not the best person graduating here. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have better stories to tell than I have, or probably a lot of you guys are even more accomplished than I am. And I think it's really just I don't know why was I not invited to talk. But yeah, I hope that you guys did cherish your experience in Korea as much as I did. It was a very how to say it, unexpected turn of event for me because unlike most people, why I chose Korea for me was really just I don't know, I really didn't have a reason to choose Korea at that time. I just so happened to run across a scholarship, and I also was able to visit the school, talk to the professors, and I felt like it was a place that I can really grow a lot as a person, as a researcher, as an academic. And yeah, I believe at the end of the day, I did achieve my goals, and I did learn a lot as well from the university. And I'm really thankful for KAIST for providing the scholarship and for giving me the opportunity to learn and study and have a lot more experiences there as well. And not just that, but I'm very grateful also to meet a lot of Filipinos when I was studying in Korea. I think that really helped a lot, especially because as a foreigner in a foreign land, we tend to kind of cling to where we were, our homes and everything. And having a Filipino community in Korea, no matter how small, is very important. So for the people who are still there right now, I really encourage you guys to really try to find the Filipino community around you. I know that Korea's not a very big country, but even then, it still feels that we are scattered. And now that with the pandemic and everything, traveling is very difficult. Having that close-knit environment is really nice. And so yeah, I really hope that for everyone here who graduated, I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe no matter where we are right now. Maybe some of you guys decided to stay in Korea, pursue further studies or work there, or maybe some of you are going in a different country. Some of you may be heading back to the Philippines. And I think later we're going to learn more about the Balik Scientist program, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, no matter where you guys are going, I hope that you guys are really bringing, the things that you have learned with you guys in Korea. So as for me, I'm going to be going back to the university that I took my undergrad in, and I'm going to be teaching there. So it would be great to network as well with other academics here if there are any. And yeah, so I hope that you guys continue to bring a part of Korea with you, whether it's the things you learned in school or even outside school. Maybe you learned how to cook Korean food. Maybe you learned how to speak Korean yourself. Personally, I didn't. Or maybe you guys also joined like the Church of Ryan, like I think we all felt that curse at some point. But yeah, so thank you guys. And I think this is a good time to end my speech. Congratulations again to everyone here, for those who graduated, for those who received their awards, and continue being, the best student or graduate or whatever that you are right now. All right. See you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Dodi, for your very informal and friendly speech for all of us. Si Dodi po ay kinatawan ng PIKO Chongbuk Daejeon chapter. So, siya po ay isang active na member ng ating organisasyon. And as you can see, he's a very fun guy to be around, and he's very spontaneous too. And now, para naman po sa ating susunod na parte, it is my greatest pleasure and warmth to introduce you to our speaker, Ginoong Jubert Marquez, a former PIKO president and a postdoctoral researcher here in Inje University in Busan. Si Jubert po ay sa kasalukuyan ay mayroong ibang lakad, kaya meron po siyang prepare na video para po ating pakinggan.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I apologize that I could not be present at today's Hayo and Gilas event due to a previously scheduled appointment. But nonetheless, I want to congratulate our Filipino scholars for their remarkable achievements this past semester. To graduate and to receive such accolades and recognition during a period of uncertainty is no easy feat. The current ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has presented everyone with its own unique challenges, on top of those that we are already facing as immigrants here in South Korea. Despite these obstacles, you forged ahead, writing that 100-page master's or doctoral dissertation, publishing the journal article your professors have been needling you to finish the past few years, hitting the send button on that term paper you've been writing for the past semester. Tell yourself, sugumana sayo. You worked hard, you did a good job. You deserve to hear that from yourself. I also want to warmly welcome our guests from the Philippine Embassy in Seoul, our newly installed Philippine Ambassador to South Korea, Madam Maria Teresa Dizon de Vega, and Vice Consul and PIKO Advisor Liza Viejo for attending our Scholars Recognition Rites despite their busy schedules. Together with the Philippine Embassy, PIKO has conducted Hayo at Gilas twice every year for more than a decade now, back when it was still called Gawad Gilas PIKO. PIKO will always be grateful to the Philippine Embassy in Seoul for the support it has lent in every event ever since our inception. And we hope that under Ambassador De Vega and Vice Consul Viejo, PIKO and our scholars can expect their utmost support in their future endeavors. I would also like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Enrico Parinit, Executive Director of the Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology Research and Development, and his team, and former PIKO President Dr. Julius Marion Flores, who will be talking to us about the Balik Scientist Program and why our fellow scholars should take advantage of this. And finally, thank you to our graduating PIKO members, Dodi and Nikki, who did not hesitate to present and speak at today's event when PIKO approached them. My journey, just like some of you, wasn't exactly how I planned it out to be. When I was younger, I had every intention to pursue medicine and become a doctor. I was in my senior year at the university when I finally decided that I won't be pursuing medicine at all. I was at a loss since I also did not know what to do if I didn't go to med school.
Why doctor?
Coincidentally, as we were also starting on our undergraduate thesis, my then advisor, who recently finished her master's degree, urged me to consider to pursue graduate school as well. I didn't put too much thought into it until after graduation, when one of my friends forwarded an email from my future graduate school advisor for an opening as an MS student and research assistant in a laboratory here in South Korea. I consulted this opportunity with my undergraduate thesis advisor, my professors who've had experiences doing studies abroad, and our department chair back then, all of whom were enthusiastic about me and a friend to go apply for it. I took a leap of faith, and the decision made all the difference in my life. Today's Hayo and Gilas also coincides with a very special event in my life as well. It was on August 28, 2012 that I first arrived in South Korea. It was exactly 9 years now. In the 9 years that I have stayed in Korea as a master's and PhD student, and now as a postdoctoral researcher, I was able to hone my skills and research abilities and pursue meaningful projects. Here at our center, the overarching theme of our group's research is the role of mitochondria in cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. One avenue where we try to address this is through the use of natural compounds extracted from marine bioresources such as sea urchins and sea sponges, and novel analogs of plant polyphenols such as resveratrol. We use these compounds to determine the mechanism in which it can regulate mitochondrial function and biogenesis, eventually leading to cardiac protection. Thinking about it, the research that we do here is something that we can also do back home in the Philippines. The Philippines is home to a plethora of medicinal plants and a very ecologically diverse marine ecosystem, where novel biological compounds can be extracted from and studied for its potential. We can conduct researches harnessing our own natural resources and come up with novel compounds which can be used for drugs specifically tailored for Filipino patients. In doing this, we don't need to import expensive medicine if we can develop our own with more efficiency and at a lower cost. That being said, you can too leave your own mark. Each one of us is a leader in our respective fields. Korea gave us an opportunity to grow and learn, which many people back home can only dream of. There's no shortage of students wanting to go to Korea to study. Who does not want to go to the land of K-pop, right? But the opportunities are very limited and sometimes are just not there. Imagine, according to the latest data, of the 160,000 international students registered with the Ministry of Education, only roughly 600 come from the Philippines. That's a mere 0.4% of the total international student population in all of Korea. Being part of that 0.4%, we should recognize that we are in a position to lead the change our country sorely needs. We should apply our experiences and learnings as scholars here and lend our expertise in improving our beloved country. Be that scientist who will be part of the team who will develop a homegrown vaccine and potential cure maybe for COVID-19. Be that engineer who will develop and probably design a better city so our fellow countrymen do not have to travel 3 hours for an office just 15 kilometers away. Be that director who will make films that will open the eyes of the Filipinos to the dastardly acts of those in power. People will tell us that we are too young or that our ideas are too big, and probably it is not our time yet. Do it anyway. Be the face of dedication courage, and persistence, the charge in change, or the one in charge in changing the direction of our country. Change is only possible if you fight for it. The road ahead is daunting and challenging, but I am confident that as newly minted master's and doctoral degree holders, you will forge ahead and leave your marks in this world. I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone of one thing, which is how I always end my speeches, that in our pursuit of excellence, in our goals and aspirations, never forget to put honor and dignity first. By its very definition, honor is the adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. Remember to never compromise on our principles, no matter what. With that, muli isang pagpupugay sa mga nagtapos at mga nagkamit ng mga rekognisyon ngayong semestre, at mabuhay ang mga Filipino Iskolars dito sa Korea. Maraming salamat po.
So there we have it, the video message from Ginoong Jubert Marquez, or more correctly, I should say, Dr. Jubert Marquez from Inje University. Ngayon naman po, atin naman pong pakinggan ang natatanging segment sa ating Hayo at Gilas for this semester, which is the Balik Scientist program that will be shared with you by our former PIKO President, Dr. Julius Marvin Flores, and who will be introducing Dr. Enrico C. Paringit, the Executive Director for DOST PSHERD. Dr. Julius.
Thank you. Today, I'm honored to introduce our guest speaker, an outstanding engineer who led game-changing programs and projects in land surveying, remote sensing and geographic information system, environmental monitoring, and disaster risk assessment and management. One of these projects is the disaster risk assessment, exposure and mitigation, light ranging and detection technology, or DREAM LiDAR, which address the effects of flooding disasters in the Philippines through accurate natural terrain elevation maps and training of LiDAR and flood mapping expert. He is the current Executive Director of the Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology Research and Development, or the DOST PSHERD. Everyone, let us all welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Enrico C. Paringit.
Magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat, Julius, sa pagpapakilala. Although malapit ko nang hindi makilala, no? Kasi medyo mahaba-habang panahon na nung ginagawa ko yung mga bagay na yan. No? Una sa lahat, of course, gusto kong batiin ang ating mga una sa mga panauhin, no, ng palatuntunan ito. Of course, napakinggan ko kanina ang mensahe ng ating embahador sa Republic of Korea, si Maria Teresa de Guzman de Vega. Of course, mamaya papapakinggan din natin ang advisor ng PIKO, ang Third Secretary at Vice Consul, si Ms. Liza Maria Esteviejo, ang kinatawan ng PIKO, Chongbuk Daejeon Chapter, Assistant Professor Deidre Martin Nang, napakinggan ko kanina. Kita-kita tayo sa UP, pagbalik natin. Ang Research Assistant at PhD student mula sa Inje University, Jubert Marquez, na siya nating napakinggan bago ang aking mensahe. Of course, ang mga scholar, opisyal at iba't ibang pamantasan at ahensya ng pamahalaan makasama sa bisita at isang magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Nakikiisa ang Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology Research and Development. Medyo mahaba ang aming pangalan, pero pwede nyo kaming tawagin sa pangalang PSHERD. Lumilingin din kami sa tawag na Innovation Council. So, kung medyo nahihirapan kayo sa aming PSHERD po ang aming ang aming nickname. So pagdiriwan ng ating Pilipinong scholar sa kanilang pagtatapos at sa karangalan binibigay nila sa bansa sa kanilang pagtatapos ng kanilang mga kurso. Kinikilala namin ang inyong pagpupunyagi upang makapagtapos sa ibang bansa, lalo na dyan sa Korea, at sa inyong mga kursong na napili, no? Nagpapasalamat din kami sa PIKO at sa Philippine Embassy sa Korea sa inyong pagsuporta at pagsusulong ng mga kooperasyon sa mga mag-aaral na Pilipino na nandyan sa Korea sa pamamagitan ng mga programang pang-edukasyon at kultura. Bilang isang dati ring nakapag-aral sa ibang bansa, naranasan ko rin ang mga pagsubok na inyong kinaharap habang nag-aaral, no? Wala nga lang pandemic nung araw, no? Kanina sa pananalita ni Ambassador De Vega na naalala ko yung panahon ko rin sa ibang bansa, no? Naging estudyante ako sa Japan ng 3 taon, tapos nag-postdoc din ako ng 2, no? Sa loob ng 5 taon na yon, nakita ko kung paano ang pagpupunyagi ang masigasig na pag-aaral at pagre-research ng ating mga estudyante, ng ating mga researchers, no? At ang kagustuhan nating lahat, no, na makapagbigay ng dangal at ng pagkilala hindi lamang sa ating sarili kundi sa ating bansa, no, pinanggalingan sa pamamagitan ng mga achievements, no, na nakikita natin, na pinapakita natin sa ating mga gawain. At kinikilala ng DOST PSURD ang inyong mga kontribusyon sa pagiging produktibo sa ating bansa. At umaasa kami, no, kaya siguro kami nandito dahil umaasa kami na maaari tayong magtulungan upang maitaguyod ang mga larangang ito, no, ang mga adhikain ito sa ating bansa. So hayaan ninyo kami na simulan ito sa pagitan ng pagtunghay nitong aking mensaheng ipinadala na hinandaman namin tungkol sa Balik Scientist Program. Pero una muna sa lahat, gusto ko munang makilala nyo ang DOST PSURD, no? O ang PSURD in particular. Of course, kilala nyo ang DOST sa maraming bagay. Nandiyan ang FIBOX, nandiyan ang Pag-asa. So kung weather at mga sakuna ang pag-uusapan, syempre kilala nyo ang DOST. Marami siguro sa inyo ay naging scholar, no? Sa pamamagitan ng mga scholarship programs. Maaaring iba pa sa inyo ay mula pa nung high school, no? Bilang mga estudyante ng Pisay. Ngunit ang DOST rin ay merong mga iba't ibang gawain kagaya ng pagsuporta sa mga pananaliksik, no? At ito ay tinataguyod ng mga tinatawag na konseho o yung mga sectoral planning councils. At itong mga to ay nagsisilbing ang DOST PSURD, no, in particular ay nagsisilbing ahensya sa pagbubuo ng mga polisiya, plano, programa, mga estratehiya para sa sektor ng industriya, enerhiya at mga pausbong na teknolohiya, no, sa mga hindi makatranslate emerging technology. So isinasagawa namin ito sa pamamagitan ng iba't ibang mandato, no? So we have a 5-fold mandate. Siyempre, we are known mostly as a research funding institution. So, kung meron kayong pangangailangan upang inyong maisagawa yung inyong research sa Pilipinas, kami ay karaniwang nilalapitan, no? So, siyempre, sa mga sektor na kami ay merong interest, no? Kagaya nung napapakita dyan sa inyong slide ngayon. Kung ito ay para sa industriya, para sa enerhiya, at saka yung mga emerging technologies. Meron din kaming interest, no, sa mga tinatawag na special concerns kagaya ng disasters, kagaya ng environment, kagaya ng climate change at sa human security. Pero upang maisagawa yon, nakikita namin na kailangan ding pagandahin natin ang estado ng pagsasagawa ng research sa Pilipinas. Paano kaya kung wala tayong equipment na gagamitin? Paano kung wala tayong laboratorio? Paano kung wala tayong mga kasanayan, no? Kaya meron din po kaming programa para may pagpatuloy yung paglinang ng kakayahan ng ating mga researchers upang makapag-research, no, sa pamamagitan ng human resource and institution development. Maliban pa doon, kami rin ay ang boses ng DOST pagdating naman sa pagpapahayag, no, ng mga breakthroughs, ng mga discoveries, mga kakayahan ng ating mga researchers sa publiko, no? Kahapon lang panauhin namin sa isang programa ang Binibining Pilipinas International na isang forensic scientist, no? Kasi nakipag-ugnayan kami kasi gusto naming makita yung kahalagahan ng siyensya sa sa kalusugan at saka sa kakayahan nating mga Pilipino. Anyway, meron din tayong support, no, sa technology transfer na tinatawag. So pagkatapos yung gawin yung inyong mga ginagawa sa research na pinapakinggan ko kanina yung tungkol doon sa oils, no. Ito ang pagkain, no, ang food science and technology ay isa sa mga pangunahing larangan actually na aming sinusuportahan. Kung meron kayong magandang idea at gusto niyo i-translate ito sa pamamagitan ng technology transfer at commercialization, nakahanda rin kaming tumulong sa ganyang larangan. At bilang ahensya ng pamahalaan, tumutulong tayo sa ating mga legislators, sa ating policy makers, sa ating mga iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno upang magpalabas sila ng mga tamang batas, alituntunin at at iba pang mga guidelines, no, upang magamit ang teknolohiya sa iba't ibang larangan, no, na ayon sa prioridad ng PSHERD. Ngayon, magbibigay ako ng mga ilang puntos tungkol doon sa tinatawag na Balik Scientist program upang higit pa natin itong maunawaan, no? Sapagkat kinukuha namin ang oportunidad na ito, ang pagkakataon na ito upang makakonect kayo at mabigyan kayo ng sabihin na nating mga options, no? Siyempre, pag graduate ka na, isa sa mga gusto mong tanongin, o di kaya bago ka pa siguro graduate, no? Saan ba ako pupunta, no? We were at those crossroads before, also when I was a student. Maliban na lamang siguro kung kayo ay nakatali sa inyong university, meron kayong kontratang pinirmahan na kayo ay babalik, no? At kayo ay pinababalik at meron kayong babalikan, okay lang yon. Pero paano kaya kung halimbawa ikaw naman nag-pursue ng yung scholarship para dyan sa Korea on your own, but you wanted to explore options? Well, you could stay there, you can work, you could either be a researcher also in the same university, you could be offered assistantships, postdocs, no? Pero ano pa kaya yung ibang options, no? So ang sinasabi natin, ang Balik Scientist program ay isang magandang option para sa inyo, no? Ito ay actually matagal na itong Balik Scientist program, no? Ang isa sa mga layunin nito ay upang mapalaki pa ang tinatawag na science base ng Pilipinas, no? Kasi kung kakaunti lang yung mga bagong siyentipiko sa Pilipinas, hindi masyadong maisusulong ang mga ang paglilinang ng mga siyensya at teknolohiya sa atin kung walang mga bagong mag-iisip kung anong gagawin, no? Walang tutulong upang ma-solve ang mga problema natin, no? Sa pamamagitan ng BSP, no, hindi ito Boy Scouts of the Philippines, no, Balik Scientist program po. Hinihimok namin ang mga siyentipiko at mananaliksik na nagkaroon na ng experience, no, sa ibang bansa na ibahagi ang kanilang kakayahan o ang kanilang kadunungan para sa bayan. Kagaya na nabanggit ko kanina, matagal na actually pinapatupad ng DOST ang Balik Scientist program as early as 1975, no? Pero higit itong pinalinaw, pinag-igting at pinalakas, no, noong sa batas ang Republic Act 11035. So ito yung tinatawag na Balik Scientist Act. So maganda to kasi ibig sabihin nito hindi na lamang ito parang programa lang ng DOST na kung saan pwedeng may budget ngayon taon na to, next year wala, no? Ito ay dahil may mandato ng batas, ibig sabihin nito maaari na tayong mag-roll out ng programa taon-taon upang mag-anyaya ng mga scientists kagaya ninyo, ng mga siyentipiko, ng mga researchers, ng mga mananaliksik upang bumalik sa bansa at magsilbi sa bayan sa mga larangan tingin nila makakatulong sa iba't ibang larangan at iba't ibang lugar. Kasi sinusulong nga ng Balik Scientist program ang bilang, no, ng mga siyentipiko sa iba't ibang institusyon upang mapalakas at syempre para pumasok din yung mga bagong ideya, mga bagong teknolohiya sa bansa. Pinamumunuan ng BSP ng ating Undersecretary for Research and Development ni Dr. Rowena Guevara at pinatutupad ng 3 sectoral councils. So hindi lang kami sa PSHERD, no? Kasama rin namin dito ang DOST card, at saka ang DOST PCHRD. Kung ang larangan nyo ay malapit sa agrikultura, sa natural resources, doon maaring may mapunta yung inyong aplikasyon kung kayo ay interesado. At kung inyong larangan naman ay patungkol sa health, no? Tungkol sa kalusugan, ito naman ay maaring mapunta sa PCHRD, no? Kasama na doon pati yung mga biomedical equipment, hospital equipment, biomedical devices, kasama na po 'yon, no? Sa PCHRD naman, kami naman ay halos catch all, no? Pagka hindi mai-fit sa agriculture, hindi mai-fit sa health, mukhang pwedeng sa amin mapunta, no? Nabanggit ko nga kanina na yung aming 21 sectors, no, na nabanggit namin. So if you will see that the technologies that you're going into, or no, the field that you're going into fall on those fields, most likely you will pursue your balik scientist application with us. So ang tanong ngayon, sino ba ang maaring maging balik scientist? Yan. So ito yung mga qualifications, no? Of course, dapat siya ay isang Pilipino o banyaga man, no? May mga dugong Pilipino kasi meron din po yung mga halimbawa second generation na, no? Kung basta meron lamang kaming patunay na kayo ay may dugong Pilipino, maari naman, no? Hindi naman kailangang Filipino kayo by citizenship. Siyempre kayo mga galing ng Pilipinas at nag-aaral sa Korea, tsak yun, pasok, no? At may sapat na kakayahan sa science, technology, and innovation. So maaring residente na kayo ng ibang bansa o kayo naman ay nakabalik na sa Pilipinas at hindi pa lumalampas sa 3 taon at mula nung huli kayong dumating. Halimbawa, bumalik kayo ng Pilipinas, no? Tapos hindi pa kayo nag-apply. Pwede kayong bumalik sa Pilipinas pero dapat gawin niyo yung inyong application within 3 years, no? Tapos dapat sa evaluation naman ito makikita na meron kayong contribution sa inyong larangan, no? So nakita naman natin kanina, no, yung mga accomplishments, yung mga recognitions na ipinataw sa ating mga no, binigay, no, sa ating mga graduates ngayong na pinagpugayan natin ngayong hapon na ito. Siyempre dapat kayo ay active pa rin sa larangan na inyong ginagalawan at siyempre ang expertise na inyong nakuha ay may kaugnayan sa mga priority areas ng DOST. Kaya siguro sa amin sa PISH, pinakita namin kung ano yung aming sectoral coverage kanina. Meron itong mechanism ng host institutions. No? Pagbalik sa Pilipinas, pinag-apply namin kayo sa isang host institution. So ito yung maaring university, maaring po itong isang research and development institute sa DOST, halimbawa yung ITDI, MIRDC, PNRI, no, yung ating Nuclear Research Institute. Pero maaari din po ito sa mga research institutes outside DOST. Pwede rin po 'yon, no? At pwede rin ito sa anumang ahensya, no? Siyempre, kung ito pa, no? Pwede rin po sa mga pribadong institusyon o pribadong ahensya. Wow, okay 'yun, ano? Kahit na private company na pala, pwedeng mag-host ng isang balik scientist, pwede po. Kaya lang, syempre, itong private agency na po ito or institution must have roles related or related to R&D. At saka syempre, ito ay registered with the SEC, no? Upang maisagawa ang mga gawain ng ating mga balik scientist, dapat ay handang magbigay din ng karampatang resources o incentives yung ating host institution sa mga mananaliksik. Ayan. Ngayon, ang tanong naman ng susunod, teka, gaano ba kahaba ang pagiging balik scientist? Permanent na ba yan? Pag bumalik na ba kami, hindi na kami pwedeng umalis, no? Hindi po, kasi ayon sa batas, no, ito ay halaw mismo sa batas, pwede po kayong bumalik, pwede kayong magsilbi bilang balik scientist sa iba-ibang periods, no, of engagement. Meron yung short term, medium term, at long term. Nakalagay na po dyan kung ano yung pwedeng gawin, no? Yung short term, siguro kung kayo ay naimbitahan upang magbigay ng lecture, ng panayam, ng pagbibigay ng kakayahan, no, sa ating mga estudyante o di kaya sa mga faculty members, sa mga local na researchers, maganda po yan, no? Ang medium term naman maganda ito doon sa mga meron ng halimbawa research activity na inyong aabutan na isasagawa sa inyong host institution at gusto nyong medyo magkaroon kayo ng medyo matagal na engagement kasi gusto nyong isagawa itong mga pananaliksik na ito kasama yung inyong mga partner researchers sa host institution, this would be most ideal for you. Kung kayo naman ay balak ng bumalik talaga on a permanent basis, halimbawa you want to transition from being a guest researcher to say for example a faculty member or one with a tenure with a government agency, this is a good transition position, no? So ito ay pwedeng gawin sa loob ng 1 hanggang 3 taon. Okay, so ito yung mga benefits, incentives, and privileges na maaaring ibigay through the Balik Scientist Program. Itong meron kayong exemption from the PRC requirements kasi may mga issue dito tungkol sa pag-practice ng profession. If you're an engineer, for example, or a medical professional, a nurse, whatever, you can be exempted if you have not, say, for example, renewed your license, things like that. Or if you had, had a level of expertise na nakuha niyo sa ibang bansa, tapos pagbalik nyo, hindi kayo pwedeng sabihin na, ay, wala kang license sa ganito, kaya hindi pwedeng gawin yan. Pwede na po under the Balik Scientist Law, no? Okay, so apart from this, sagot din yung kung may mangyari, halimbawa, no? Syempre, insurance, yung pong inyong mga bagahe, kasi syempre sa isang uuwi on a longer term basis, alam namin na marami kayong dala. And then of course, exemption from taxes and duties, and other privileges drawn up by the UST. Para sa mga gusto mag-avail ng short term at medium term, ito yung mga kakailanganin ninyo, no? Ito yung mga pwedeng ibigay. So, kasama na po yung inyong round trip air ticket. Halimbawa, kung nagbabalak pa kayong bumalik sa Pilipinas, tapos gusto nyo pang bumalik sa Korea, sagot din yun, no? Kasi yun nga, short term, no? And then, of course, yung mga applications of visa, siguro ito is para sa mga non-citizen. And then, maaari rin kayong makiisa doon sa mga research projects. Kasi isa sa mga nagiging tanong sa amin, ano ba ang inyong magiging research resources pagbalik, no? It's good that you have that specialization. Of course, in Korea, you might have been hosted by your laboratory, by your, supervisor, advisor, professor. But who bought the equipment? Diba? Inasikaso yan lahat ng laboratory ninyo, no? In-specify nyo siguro. Pero, yung university yung naglabas ng pera, na, of course, through some research grants. And not out of your own pocket. When you come back to the Philippines, you will have the same set of questions. And the way to do it is to apply for a grant, no? Maybe not directly yet as a Balik Scientist, but you could ask your host institution to apply for you that grant through our Grants and Aid program. Pwede pa natin pag-usapan siguro sa isang forum yung Grants and Aid program ng DOST at ng PSHERD, pero mahaba-haba rin yun, kaya sa susunod na lang. Kung long term naman po, I think ito nabanggit ko 1 to 3 years, no? Maaring kayo makakuha rin ng round trip ticket, of course the relocation benefits, allowance for your kids if you have any, tax exemption, and then participation in our Grants and Aid program, no? Pero dito hindi na kayo mabibigyan ng subsistence allowance sa long-term engagement, no? Pero kayo ay mabibigyan ng isang sweldo nakapantay ng salary grade 24. Hindi ko na alam masyado kung anong value ng salary grade 24, no? Kasi sa system ng government. I-Google nyo na lang kung sa host institution nyo, add the you have to cut out the taxes, no? Syempre. And then, okay, ito yung special good news, no? Ngayon naman nasasadlak tayo sa panahon ng pandemya, no? Wherein it may not be possible for you to actually go back, no, and serve as a Balik Scientist. What could we do, no? What kind of arrangements, no? So dito nagpalabas ng special na guidelines ang aming departamento upang ma-accommodate yung mga gustong tumulong para maibsan natin ang problema natin sa COVID-19. Hindi lang yun, no? Ngayon yata ginawa na namin general, medyo niluwagan pa namin. So makikita nyo sa screen, if you plan to, to serve as a Balik Scientist, pwede na pong on-site, remote, no? Remote, ibig sabihin kahit wala kayo sa Pilipinas, pwede kayo ma-engage, no? Ito po ay between 15 days to 2 months. So ibig sabihin nun, if you can work remotely, pero ito po ay para lamang sa mga COVID-19 related engagements. Pwede rin po kayong manilbihan ng 2 months to 6 months. Kaya lang, 35% nun, remote, tapos on-site, kailangan yung bumalik talaga. Pero ito ay kailangan may sagawaan nyo sa pamamagitan ng within flexible yung schedule, no? Sa medium term naman, which is a period of 6 months to a year, 20% nun pwede yung i-serve as remote. So, ibig sabihin, kung hindi pa kayo makakauwi, 20% ng time na yon pwede nyo i-serve as in the medium term. And then 80% of that time, so that means something like 4 months, no, 4.5 months, kailangan nandun na kayo sa Pilipinas or nandito na kayo sa Pilipinas. Okay. Ito yung mga benepisyo, kaparehas din po ito ng mga on-site engagement sa on-site, no? Kaparehas din ito ng mga nauna, ngunit sagot pa rin ng programa ang COVID-19 related insurance and testing. Kasi naisip din namin, paano kung magka-COVID kayo? Sinong sasagot ng testing, sinong sasagot ng hospitalization, etc. etc. Sinama na namin po 'yon sa incentives, no? And then, para naman sa magiging sweldo ng ating balik scientist, sa halip na salary grade 24, ginamit po namin salary grade 27. Wow, no? I think medyo reasonable na rin ito for an expat, no? Mabubuhay naman kayo sa Pilipinas. Okay, so narito naman yung mga listahan ng mga requirements para sa pagiging balik scientist kung inyo pong makikita. Don't worry, no? We will be leaving a copy of these slides to you. You don't have to take notes. We will also be leaving the brochure so that you can take a look and then maybe also send the link to the website, no? Dahil sa pandemya, tinatanggap na po namin yung e-signature. Kailangan din po natin ng medical certificate na magpapakita kayo ay physically fit to work. So dapat din lahat ng dokumento mula sa host institution ay original. Sila po yung magpapadalang diretso sa amin. So it's important actually at this point to say that you should have a host institution that is willing and able to support your return, no? Yun siguro yung pinaka-mensahe. And then next naman, ito naman yung kung paano namin kayo i-monitor. Syempre, no? Hindi naman pwedeng pagbalik nyo lang you're on your own, no? But rather we will also look at your key accomplishments, no? Para may sagawa yung balik scientist, no? So ito naman yung pwedeng ma-enable, no? At saka parang ito yung parang expectation namin out of the resources that the Philippine government will be forking out in your support as balik scientist. So para mabigyan kayo ng idea, ano bang ginagawa ng isang balik scientist, no? Mainly, of course, when you go back to a university, when you go to a university back here in the Philippines, syempre pagle-lecturein kayo sa mga estudyante, sa mga faculty, kung anong bagong gusto niyong ipasok, no? Pangalawa, pwede rin kayong mag-participate sa mga R&D activities. And then, of course, you will also have opportunities to do some lectures or seminars. That means you can include other government agencies, even professional associations, industry groups, in relation to your stint as balik scientist. No? These are the number of balik scientists that have come our way since I think 2014, no? Syempre, yung Balik Scientist Act ay naisakatuparan noong 2018, ano? So medyo iba yung kalakaran nung before 2018, but more or less yung we have quite a steady number. In fact, ang biro ko nga, hindi lang kayo magiging balik scientist, pwede rin kayong maging balik-balik scientist. So pwede yung ulit-ulitin, no? Hindi ito one-time engagement, but rather you will be asked to come back, no? Either by the same host institution or in another host institution. Pwede po yon. And in some cases, you can even be hosted in multiple institutions. So halimbawa, kayo ay taga Mindanao. Gusto nyo muna balik muna kayo sa university na siguro doon kayo nag-aral, no? Sa Manila. But then you want to come back to your province. Hanap lang kayo doon ng host university nyo or host institution nyo doon sa Mindanao. That could be that could also be arranged. Of course, in agreement with your host institution. So para sa taong 2021, sige, alam naman natin, no, talagang hirap talaga kami sa pag-iimbita, no, kasi yung notion nga na mahirap magkaroon ng magbiyahe, no, sa panahon ng pandemya. Pero sinisikap namin na makipag-ugnayan sa Balik Scientist ngayong taon at well, we're projecting 61 more next year. So sana isa kayo doon, no? Sa kabila ng pandemya noong 2020, nagkaroon tayo ng 10 doon sa target na 27 natin at kami naman ay umaasa na makasama namin kayo dito. Ngayon naman, last part, gusto lang namin kayong ano bang klase mga balik scientist ang nakabalik na sa Pilipinas, no? So, I'll just run through some of the balik scientists that we have hosted in the last couple of years. I think these are just from 2018 or so, 2019. And where do they go? What are their specializations? No, and what kind of engagements were they doing? No, nandyan si well, marami. Of course, traditionally marami talaga yan sa mga bansang kaluranin, US, Europe, no. Pero through time, actually, dumadami din yung kahit na sa ibang lugar, no. Syempre, nandiyan si Dr. Santos, Dr. Aranas from who came from Canada, Dr. Aleta, who is an expert in nuclear energy, Dr. Doyle Babiano, who is from the University of Melbourne, no? Meron nga balik scientist all the way from Fiji. Si Dr. Nesperos Nesperos tumulong sa Technology Applications and Promotions Institute, no? So yung expertise could not just be on specific areas of or discipline of science. It could also be on technology transfer. It could be on science communication, science education, no? As long as they are of course science related. And then meron din tayong balik scientists mula sa Korea, no? So kita nyo rito si Dr. Lim Huko, si Dr. Tamargo. I don't know if you've been with them for a time, no? Also when they were here in Korea. Si Engineer D. Reyes ay hosted naman ng FIATI at National University, who is actually an engineer at NASA, no? And then si Dr. Delena is now hosted at the University of Science and Technology in the Philippines, which is in Cagayan de Oro City. For 2021, medyo maliit lang yung aming naging kokonti, no? Yung aming naging balik scientist kasi nga nakikita na namin na travel could be an issue, no? But still, we are hopeful and we are confident that you will be with us, no, in finding ways in order to make science and technology more vibrant, no, as a field, as a discipline, as an area of engagement here in the Philippines, no. So and we hope we share that vision with you. Umaasa kami na makakasama namin kayo sa pagtulong sa ating bansa upang mapaunlad ang ating komunidad ng mga siyentipiko, mga inhinyero, mga innovators, no. Kung kayo po ay interesado, maaari po kayong makipag-ugnayan sa aming tanggapan at malugod po namin kayong tatanggapin at sasagutin ang inyong kung anumang tanong ang meron kayo. Muli po, ang aming pagbati sa mga nagsipagtapos, ang aming pagpupugay doon sa mga may mga karangalang natanggap at pagkilala. At makakaasa po kayo na tatanggapin po namin kayong maluwag sa Pilipinas para bang para bang prodigal sons and daughters, no. Pero I'd like to share this with you. This is my last slide, no. About the same time siguro nitong panahon na ito, let's just say 20 years ago, I mentioned that I was also a student. About the same time, we also have this kind of event, no, where we gather students, no, graduate Filipino students, at saka yung mga SNT expats sa Hapon, no, so kasi doon ako nag-PhD. Ngayon, about the same time, we had the executive director of PSHERD, who was our guest, and we did actually that through a teleconference. Wala pang Zoom nung araw, wala pang Meets, wala pang Teams, no. And one particular area, I think that we were discussing, no, kasi it was a dialogue between students, SNT expats, and the Philippine government representatives, no, particularly on the SNT front. And one of the questions was, what do students, no, who will be graduating and SNT expats will be expecting when they go back to the Philippines, no? Kasi isa po talaga sa mga concerns natin sa ating pagbabalik, anong babalikan natin? Meron ba tayong laboratoryong pwedeng gawan ng R&D? Meron ba tayong mga posisyon sa mga research positions, no? Kasi you could go back to the Philippines and yet siguro mag-online selling ka, no? Hindi 'yun ang gusto nating career. Ang gusto nating career para sa inyo is ma-pursue nyo kung ano yung pinag-aralan nyo. Ma-pursue nyo kung ano yung expertise nyo, no? Ma-pursue nyo kung anong, siguro sabihin na natin anong pangarap nyo sa karera ninyo. At that time, I think ang sagot ng executive director of that time, who became undersecretary of DOST, was that there are resources available, but you should have that commitment and you should have that vision when you come back, no? So now I want you to think about what kind of visions you will have, and and the level of commitment that you will have. Pang short term ba, pang medium term ba, o pang long term ba, no? So think about this. You can sleep this through, and then you can come back and tell to us what you plan to do, and we will be glad to share also. Exchange views about your visions, whatever it is, no? If you plan to stay in Korea, that's fine, no? Somewhere along the way, we will our paths will cross definitely, no? At hindi tayo nagsasara ng pintuan. Bukas po parati ang bansa nating sinilangan para kayo ay makabalik, at binubuhusan namin ito ng karampatang resources, no, upang pagbalik natin maisasagawa natin yung ating mga gawain, no, at matupad natin yung ating mga pangarap. Okay, so dito ko nasisimulan. Again, maraming salamat sa PIKO, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagtunghay, at mabuhay po tayong lahat. Congratulations sa ating mga graduates.
Thank you very much po, Dr. Paringit, sa inyong comprehensive and informative presentation about Balik Scientist Program. Marami na po sa ating mga Hayo awardees ang nasa Pilipinas, at baka po interested pa po kayong malaman pa ang mas maraming at mas malalim na information about Balik Scientist Program. We are already working on more collaborative projects with the Balik Scientist Program para po sa ating mga scholar dito sa Korea. Kaya po abangan po ninyo ang aming anunsyo tungkol sa Balik Scientist Program collaboration with PIKO by just following our Facebook page and all of our other social media pages. Before we move on, I would like to then have this chance to present to you our President, Ginoong Alfred Alcantara Jr., para sa paggawad ng sertipiko sa ating mga speakers at para po sa ating mga susunod pang ibang anunsyo. Alfred, take it away!
Okay, maraming salamat, Mapi. And for the first certificate, this is the site. Okay, for the certificate of appreciation is given to Ms. Mariana Dominic Bibat for impairing valuable insight and knowledge to the presentation entitled Characterization of Rapeseed Oil Bodies as Fat Replacer and its Application to Meat Model System during the Hayo at Gilas Pagkilala sa mga nagsipagtapos at Natatanging Pinoy sa Korea. Given this 28th day of August 2021, signed by Alfredo Alcantara, PIKO President, and Ma'am Liza Maribejo, Third Secretary and Vice Consul of the Embassy of the Philippines in South Korea. And that certificate is given to Mr. Diondre Martintina for impairing valuable insight and knowledge through his message for the graduates during Hayo at Gilas Pagkilala sa mga nagsipagtapos at Natatanging Pinoy Iskolars sa Korea. Given this 28th day of August 2021, signed Alfredo Alcantara, PIKO President, and Ma'am Liza Maria Bejo, Third Secretary and Vice Consul of the Republic of the Philippines Embassy in South Korea. And also to certificate appreciation to Dr. Jubert Marquez for impairing valuable insight and knowledge through the congratulatory speech during Hayo at Gilas PIKO, Pagkilala sa mga nagsipagtapos at Natatanging Pinoy Iskolars sa Korea, given this 28th day of August 2021, signed Alfredo Alcantara Jr., PIKO President, and Ma'am Liza Maria Viejo, Third Secretary and Vice Consul, Philippine Embassy to South Korea. And lastly, certificate of appreciation to Dr. Enrico C. Paringet of DOSTP Shared for impairing valuable insight and knowledge to the congratulatory speech during the Hayo at Gilas, Pagkilala sa mga nagsipagtapos at Natatanging Pinoy Iskolars sa Korea. Given this 28th day of August 2021, signed Alfredo Alcantara, PIKO President, and Ma'am Liza Viejo, Third Secretary and Vice Consul of the Philippine Embassy in the Republic of Korea. Okay, so bago tayo dumako sa mga anunsyo, nais ko lamang samantalahin ang pagkakataon ito upang pasalamatan ng mga individual at mga institusyon na tumulong at sumuporta upang maging matagumpay ang pagdaraos ng Hayo at Gilas ngayong hapong ito. Una-una, nais ko pasalamatan ang Embahada ng Pilipinas sa Republika ng Korea, pamumuno ni Ambassador Maria Teresa Dizon de Vega, sa kanyang pagbibigay ng pambungad na panalita at pagpapaunlak na dumalo ngayong Hayo at Gilas, at gayon din sa kanyang pagpapaunlak na kami makapag-usap sa kanya upang patuloy pa magkaroon ng koordinasyon ang Pinoy Iskolars Korea at ang Embahada na magkaroon ng mga collaboration at coordination projects dito sa Korea. Ayun din sa aming advisor kay Ma'am Liza Viejo. Maraming salamat din po sa inyong pagdalo at patuloy ng pagbibigay gabay sa aming organisasyon at sa inyong pagbibigay mamaya ng pangwakas na salita. Ganun din, nais ko pasalamatan, of course, sa DOSTP Shared, yung Malik Scientist Program, yung Natatanging Innovation Council, sa pangunguna ni Dr. Enrico Paringit sa pagpunlak kaming imbitasyon kahit medyo huli yung naging imbitasyon namin ay naging buo pa rin yung kanilang pagsuporta at ganoon at pagbabahagi ng Balik Scientist Program. Gayun din yung mga kasamahan po sa DOSTP Shared kay Dr. Raterta, Miss Atienza, Miss Rogelio, Miss Calio, and Miss Jomao As. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo. Ganon din kay Engineer Julius Mardon Torres, yung aming former PIKO President, na siyang nag-ugtay sa amin sa DOSTP Shared kaya naging posible na itong BSP program sa Hayo at Gilas ngayong hapon ito. At sa kanyang pagpapakilala kay Dr. Paringit. Salamat po, Engineer Julius. At nais ko din po pasalamatan ang mga miyembro ng PIKO Exicom na talagang kumilos, naganda at naghirap upang may daos ang Hayo at Gilas ngayong hapon ito. Kay Mapi sa kanyang pagiging tagapagdaloy ng programa, kay Joseph sa paggawa ng mga sertipiko, kay Bell sa paggawa ng mga program booklet na pinamigay po namin sa inyo sa email, kay Ken sa paghahanda ng Zoom platform at sa paggawa ng slideshow presentation na nakikita nyo ngayon, kay Jeremiah sa kanyang pag-stream sa Facebook ng ating live, kay Angela sa kanyang pagpadala ng email at ng mga kalahok at bisita. At ganoon din kay Bianca na nag-asikaso sa pagpatala ng mga kalahok nating nagsipaghayo at gilas ngayong hapong ito. At ngayon din nagpapasalamat ako sa lahat ng mga nakalahok, mga nagbigay mensahe, presentasyon kay Dr. Jubert, yung aming advisor at former president, Dodi, Nikki, salamat. At salamat din sa lahat ng mga nanonood ngayon sa Facebook Live. At para naman sa mga anunsyo, sa mga nagsipagtapos ngayon, sa mga nagpaghayo at gilas ngayong hapon, ipapadala namin ang soft copy ng inyong mga certificates sa inyong email. Sa mga humingi naman ng hard copy, maaari namin ipadala sa inyo ang mga sertipiko, kailangan lamang ay bayaran ng halaga ng pagpapadala nito. Gayun din, pagpasensya na kung magkakaroon ng onting pagkaantala sa pagpadala nito dahil na rin sa sitwasyon ng pandemya ngayon. At para naman sa mga susunod pang aktibidad at proyekto ng PIKO, narito ang mga sumusunod. Patuloy pa rin ang PIKO online kapihan bawat buwan kung saan may pinag-uusapan tayo na iba't ibang mga napapanahong diskusyonan. Ganon din, inaniyahan ko ang mga bagong mag-aaral at na dumating sa Korea at ganon din ang mga dating mag-aaral dito sa Korea na dumalo sa ating gaganaping 2021 Fall General Assembly online sa susunod na buwan, Setyembre. Ganon din, patuloy ang aming collaboration with Guangzhou Filipino English Teachers, ang Skills Development Program. Ito po ay libre sa bawat huling linggo ng buwan. Actually, meron po kami bukas. May kita niyo po ang detalye nito sa aming Facebook page. Gayun din, magkakaroon kami ng Basic Wellness Program para sa mga estudyante, kasama ang K-Group 10 to 10 sa Oktubre upang makatulong sa emosyonal na pinagdaraanan ngayon ng ating mga mag-aral ngayong pandemya at gayon din sa mga stranded na mag-aaral sa Pilipinas. Kaya isang PIKO na nananalangin at umaasa na naway dumating ang panahon na makarating din sila dito sa Korea at may sapuparan ang kanilang pangarap na makapag-aral dito. Gayon din, meron kaming inaasikasong esports competition sa Nobyembre. Wala pang ganong detalye. At sa Disyembre naman, magkakaroon kami ng PIKO year-end party kasama ang mga alumni. At kung papalarin at maluwag na ang sitwasyon nun, maaring ito ay ganapin na bilang offline o personal na aktibidad. Hopefully. At panghuli, gaya na magit ni Mapi kanina, may ongoing talks na with collaboration with BSP upang magkaroon ng tuloy-tuloy na koordinasyon at programa on another venue para mapag-usapan pa nating mabuti ang Balik Scientist Program at kung meron pa kayong mga katanungan tungkol dito. At gayon din po, bukas ang aming organisasyon sa anumang mga collaboration with other institution and organization dito sa Korea at sa Pilipinas. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, our dear President Alfred Alcantara Jr. So once again po, abangan po ninyo ang amin pang mga programa sa PIKO, and you can stay on top of that if you follow our pages on social media, especially official PIKO in Facebook. We also have an Instagram, but we are most active in Facebook. For everyone who has any concerns, you may send us a message on PIKO Messenger. Nandyan po lagi si Joseph para masipag at masigasig na sumagot sa inyong mga message. So last but not the least, let's have our final speaker, si Binibining Liza Maria S. Viejo, our dear advisor for PIKO, para sa kanyang pangwakas na pananalita. Ma'am Liza!
Ambassador Maria Teresa B. Dizon de Vega, Dr. Enrico Paringit of the DOST Innovation Council, PIKO President Alfred Alcantara Jr., PIKO Executive Committee, past and present, PIKO members, Hayo and Gilas honorees, Annyeonghaseyo, good afternoon and mabuhay. Before everything else, I wish to bid everyone, the officers and members, both the old hats and the new recruits of the Pinoy Iskolars in Korea, a pleasant summer afternoon, and convey my sincerest congratulations for a very productive spring season for the organization. I'm pleased and honored to once again have this opportunity to express my support to our scholars in Korea, and I hope that PIKO will continue the momentum you have built in the past months to fully serve your members for the upcoming fall semesters. I also wish to commend PIKO for its continuous and untiring efforts to cultivate a welcoming and inclusive community of Filipino scholars in South Korea, one that strives to bridge the considerable challenges that are posed by distance and the current COVID-19 pandemic. PIKO is always present to inspire, uplift, and celebrate the achievements of members through Hayo at Gilas, where recent graduates, publications, honors, and other awards are recognized. Your regular online kapihan and information drive utilizing online tools and social media channels have proven to be very effective in reaching out to your members located in different parts of Korea and providing much needed practical advice on how to navigate life after PIKO. And of course, your participation in the wider community of scholars both in Korea and in the Philippines through fora and lectures is a testament to the quality of the work that our students produce. It also fosters linkages that will be very beneficial for individual members. Equally important, as the sole student organization recognized by the Philippine Embassy, PIKO has consistently worked with us over the years to make sure that Filipino scholars are integrated into the wider Filipino community in Korea. I hope that your insights into the lives and experiences of overseas Filipinos will stay with you beyond your sojourn in this country and inspire you to give back to the Philippines and to our kababayans. I also hope that you will apply what you have learned as Filipino scholars in South Korea to help in the development of our country and the improvement of the lives of our less fortunate countrymen whose precarious existence have been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. I encourage you to explore new ideas, acquire experiences, and develop proficiency in your field, not only for personal glory and achievement, but also to be able to contribute to our government's efforts in finding ways to ameliorate the long-standing economic and societal problems afflicting our nation and people. I close this afternoon's Hayo at Gilas by wishing PIKO and its members the best of luck in all your future endeavors. Kamsahamnida, thank you. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon sa lahat.
Thank you very much po, our advisor, Miss Liza Maria Viejo. For all of our awardees for this afternoon, our heartfelt and warmest congratulations to you. Kosing manasyosunida, chukamnida. Before we end our program, definitively, can we ask for everyone to open your screens and let's have a group picture. Yes, so beautiful. So happy to see all of you. We also recognize the DOST for joining us this Hayo and Gilas. You have definitely made our event for today extra special. And also we are excited to work further with our Balik Scientists program collaboration in the future. Okay na po ba? Mr. Cameraman, sino po mag-take ng picture?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So,
isa pa po with a heart sign. Ito po, finger heart. Sarang hamnida.
하나, 둘, 셋. Okay.
Okay, once again, I am your host for today, Maria Victoria Faith Garcia, and we wish to give you our warmest thanks for attending our event. Until the next time that we'll see each other, 안녕하십니까? 수고했어요. 안녕하세요.
Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po. Jumaljal boneseyo.
Congratulations, Ate.
Salamat.
Congratulations, Hayo.
Congrats to everyone.
Congrats, Execom community.